Started?
Nah, just a minute. Please begin. Ha. Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Ankit Kumar Patel. I'm the head of Department of Aeronautical Engineering at PITDS in Parul University. Today we are presenting a webinar titled as Introduction to Vibration and Vibrational Characterization Advanced Material, presented by Dr. Nitesh Panchal sir. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any question during the presentation, please type them to my number 9978225359. I'm repeating again 9978225359. I will bring them up during the presentation and we'll have time for question at the end of session. Now, without further ado, we will turn the time over to Nitesh sir. Our presenter today is Associate Professor at Nirma University with a great knowledge and expertise on subject. Nitesh sir.
Thank you, Professor Ankit. Uh, I hope I'm audible to everyone. Right?
Yes, sir.
Starting with the subject, the title mentions that the title is, you can divide the title into two parts. That is, one is Introduction to Vibration, and second part of the title of today's session is the Vibrational Characterization of Advanced Materials. I have specially chosen this title because many of times we study many subjects, but the question always arises in your mind that why we are studying this. So here I will considering that I will consider over the second part of this session. So, in the introduction of the vibration, we will just go through the basics of vibration that maybe some of you have gone through your subject uh, during your BTech earlier semester of your BTech, or some of you have gone through the course like vibration in your diploma studies also. So, the basic part, first part will cover the basic theory, what are the causes, applications, the basic derivations related to deriving the governing equations. Okay. And after going through that, we are not, of course, we are not going to much detail for the derivation part, because I am considering that you have already gone through those derivation. But for those who have not gone through the subject, they can. I will try my best that they can understand the topic easily, and the derivation they can understand easily. So, without wasting much time, just I would like to start the first session that is related to introduction of vibration. So, first question comes in the mind that what is vibration? Many a times we generally ask to the undergraduate students during their oral viva that what is vibration. They are unable to define. They are just many. I have observed in many places that the students are telling that the vibration are nothing. Of course, they are right. When any or the one can see the true and force motion of the object, that is vibration. Of course, when you are driving a car and suddenly the bump is there, or the your car is going through the rough surface of the road, there you will feel the vibration. Okay. But that you cannot exactly define the vibration. So the exact definition of vibration is very simple, and that is a motion that repeats itself after an interval of time is called the vibration or oscillation. See here, the first figure means this figure. If you look at, that represent the simple pendulum, okay, which is oscillating about its equilibrium position. So that also you can call it as a vibration, as per the definition that the motion is repeating itself after certain interval. The second example is also there, which is related to the spring mass system, okay, in which the motion of the mass, if you consider, which is in true and forward motion of the mass in vertical direction. So the swing of the pendulum and the motion of plug spring are the typical example of vibration. The theory of vibration deals with the study of oscillatory motion of the bodies and the forces associated with them. Okay, so why we need to study the particular subject, that is an important part before we are going to learn anything, why we are studying that subject. So if you consider this question, that why we are studying or why we are dealing with this particular subject, that I would like to say that we are living in the world of the vibration, that you have to accept, because as I am speaking right now and you are listening over there, that transmission of voice from one place to another, that is also due to the vibration. Okay, also we are in daily life in our own house, also we are surrounded with the so many instruments, the which are based on the application of vibration, like washing machine you can consider, the shaker machine, musical instruments you can consider. So these are the mainly the applications of the vibration. So moving to the next slide, the main causes of the vibration. As far as the causes of vibrations are concerned, see, there are two parts of the vibration. One part which is the helpful part of the vibration. Other part you can say is the what you can say is a harmful part. Okay, so there are the causes which produce the vibration, and which ultimately results to the harmful part of the vibration. So here the harmful part of the vibration mainly you occurs, you come across the applications where the mainly the machine parts are subjected. Okay, so considering the dynamics of machine, we are designing the component that it can resist the particular or up to certain limit of vibration. So the main causes of such cases are the unbalanced forces. Yeah. When there is a unbalanced forces, the machinery results into the vibration. Second part is the misalignment. So misalignment of the rotating member is a common cause of vibration, and it leads to unidirectional preloaded or the on the rotary element. If you consider a rotor and which is not exactly centrally mounted, okay, center of rotation is different than the center of rotor or a center of disk, then you can imagine that how that motion of rotor or disk will appear. And due to that unbalance or misalignment of the centers, it results into the vibration. Looseness in a rotary machinery, loose foundations, looseness in the bearing causes the vibration. Okay, sometimes also in the real life, we need to fasten the fasteners after the certain period of time, because that looseness will result into the vibration, and ultimately the efficiency of the component will be decreasing. Okay. Another is the dry friction between the two rubbing surfaces. The best example of this is the machine tool chattering. The dry friction between two rubbing surfaces is responsible for the self excitation vibration, and machine tool chatter is an example of this type of vibration. This all of you have experienced this machine tool chattering, during your first year workshop practices subject, right? Another is the external excitation. Vibration due to external excitation can be periodic, random, or form of an impact load. Shaking of motorcycle on rough road belongs to this category. Also, I would like to say that the one another point. Okay, we will move to the next point. The whatever example I was planning to introduce in the previous point, that is external excitation, that belongs to the self-induced vibration. So wind-induced vibration, the wind-induced vibration mainly present the structure of civil engineering and aerospace engineering. Mainly vortices and the flutter are two main causes of wind based vibration. You can consider the example other than the aeronautical. If you consider a chimney like structure, very tall structure, if you have to suppose install that structure at the middle of this city, say at near the Sursagar talab of the Baroda city, and suppose you have to install the same structure at the seashore, or you can say near Diu beach or Nagra beach of the Diu. Okay, of course the structural design and material parts are same, but due to the different location, one at the center of the Baroda city and another is one at the one of the beach of the Diu. Okay, the design criteria will be different because at the seashore we have to consider the sudden wind induced vibration, wind load, that you can say as a gust load. Okay, so that also results into the vibration. All, of course, here the wind induced vibration, the application which is applicable to the aerospace industry, you might have studied the aerodynamic subject where the separation force or the vertex of the fluid, okay, circulation part, that is resulting into the flapping or flapping, mainly the fluttering of the wind, aircraft wing. Okay, so these are the main causes of the vibration. Now the effect of vibration. What are the effect of vibration? As I told you that vibrations are of two kind, harmful and useful. The vibration are undesirable in machines and structure. This already I have told you that harmful vibrations are mainly related to the machines and the structure. Presence of vibration increases the rate of wear, and vibrations are responsible for producing excessive stresses, wear, and unwanted noise and premature failure of one or more component by looseness in connections or due to the fatigue. So this in this particular figure, you can see the three basic effects of the vibration. That one is the wear, another is the fatigue, and the another one is the distraction. Okay, distraction, if we cannot care during the operating condition, and if the dynamic load crosses the required conditions, okay, or crosses the allowable or permissible condition, then the catastrophic failure can be occur. So that is due to the dynamic loading on the machine element or any engineering system. Next are the applications. So there are numerous applications where the presence of vibration is essential. So one is the mechanical shaker that you use for the mixing of the things. So this type of mechanical shaker you can see over here. Okay, I will play the video so that you can right observe the how they make this. Here in this particular example you can see that the vibration is produced, vibration in the sense the motion of the upper frame is produced to mix the mixing of the thing. Okay, so this one is the example of mechanical shaker table which is operated through this predefined electronic circuits. Okay, So this, of course, for this type of movement, this mechanism is not much difficult. You have to design the cam profile such that which will results into shaking moment of the mechanical shaker table, right? So this is one of the example. Next is the vibratory conveyor and compactors. Again, you can see that these are the few nice example of the application of vibration. You can see linear vibratory feeder. Okay, first go through this mechanism. You can see over here at this one of the end here, we are putting the material, and then we'll see how that can be moved forward using the application of vibration. Now the system is provided, or system is subjected to the vibration. You can see the, if you can see the vibrating moment of this conveyor, okay, so that ultimately results into the forward movement of this material, okay. So this way we can use the vibration concept to have the linear vibratory feeder system. Also, if you want to see the mechanism, here you can see the mechanism which generates the vibration. See, the springs are provided over here, and the excitation is given to this horizontal bed on which the material is provided, so that the vibration movement of the this bed, what horizontal bed, results into the forward movement of the material. This forward movement of the material is predefined. So accordingly, that motion of the vibration to the horizontal bed can be provided. Next is the musical instruments. Again, or this I have already told you. Okay. Stress relieving techniques. Okay. Washing machines is one of the example of vibration. Then machines used for medical practitioner to increase blood circulation. These, so ultimately these are the applications of vibration. Yeah. Now, this you need to understand. Generally, to design a mechanical vibration system, we are always going for three elements, mainly the mass, spring, and damper system. Okay, so why we are going for that? These three elements only. Okay, why not others? So the vibration of a system involves the transfer of its potential energy to kinetic energy and transfer of kinetic energy to potential energy alternatively. So if the system is damped, some energy is dissipated in each cycle of vibration. Okay. So a vibratory system in general includes the a means for storing the potential energy. To store the potential energy, we are always prefer, as an engineer, we know that the string or elasticity is required to store the potential energy, right? A means for storing the kinetic energy, mass or inertia is required. Okay? And a means by which energy is gradually lost, or you can say to damp out the energy, a damper is required. So because of these three uh, points, the elementary parts of any vibrating system are spring, mass, and damper. So here you can say that the spring is provided to store the potential energy, mass is provided to store the kinetic energy, and damper is provided to dissipate the energy during the vibration. Now, number of degree of freedom. Next point. Once I hope this all these things, the basics are clear. What is vibration? What are the causes of vibration? What are the possible applications of vibration? Okay, and in the last In this particular slide, we have seen that what are the elementary parts of vibrating system. Okay, so question, the answer, this slide is the answer to the question why spring, mass, and dampers are the basic elements required to define or to model any vibratory system. So this slide is the answer for that. Now the degree of freedom system. So there are mainly single degree of freedom system, two degree of freedom system, and multi degree. More than two can be defined as a multi degree of freedom system. We will see this is the basic. Okay, one by one we will see that what this means. Okay, so single degree of freedom system is the elementary one. Two degree of freedom system is the little bit more complex, while the multi degree of freedom system is complex. So modeling, analytical modeling of any system which is subjected to single degree, two degree, or multi degree of freedom system is depends upon its complexity depends upon the types of freedom. Okay, the next is the classification of vibration, the free vibration. Okay. All of you have experienced, or you all of you have performed the experiment of the simple pendulum, in which the we are deflecting the mass from its equilibrium position, and we are releasing that after deflecting, and that pendulum will start oscillate. So that in which we are not providing any external force, and because of that reason the induced vibration or the resulting motion of the pendulum can be considered as a free vibration. The important point you need to remember is that many of students know that the what is free vibration. Okay, because the immediate answer is there is no external force, right? But if in the next step, if I ask that, if I ask the question that what are the assumptions which makes the mechanical system as a free vibration system, then you can then nobody able to answer. Okay, so the assumptions which required to define the system as a free vibration system, if you consider the example of pendulum, then that mass attached is a lump mass, and the string which is considered for the pendulum is non inelastic and non stretchable and massless. Okay, and the one important assumption you need to consider that the motion of the pendulum is a planar motion. Okay, so the pendulum or mass moves in a single plane only, that you have to consider. Okay, these are the few assumptions, but the basic is that there is no air resistance. Okay, now next, okay, this is the example of the free vibration, which I have already discussed. Then the forced vibration, a system subjected to an external force, often a repeating type of force. The resulting vibration is known as the force vibration, and the vibration that arises in machines such as diesel engine is an example of force vibration. Where the engine is continuously running, so the movement of the piston, connecting rod, crank is continuously repeating, and because of that the resulting vibration is called the force vibration. Okay, these are the few examples. This figure you have come across when you have studied the uh, force vibration system. But if suppose you have not studied, then during the force vibration system, you will study this figure where there is a mass, there is a spring element, there is a damper, okay, and force is applied, and that applied force is in harmonic function. As a harmonic function, the force is applied, and because of that reason, the true and force for motion of the mass can be achieved. This another example is the example of the cantilever beam which is subjected to the exciter, right? Next is the undamped and damped vibration. So the undamped vibration means there is no dissipation of energy. In many cases, damping is negligible or very small. However, small damping has critical importance and analyzing system at or near resonance. Sorry for disturbance. Some announcement outside is going on related to COVID. Okay. I'm
Audible?
audible.
Yes.
Is the disturbance is coming?
Yes. Yes. There is a small disturbance, but you are clearly
Okay,
audible.
okay. That announcement, one announcement from the Nagar Panchayat government officials was there. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I think I'm audible clearly, right?
Sir, yes.
So there are undamped and damped vibration system. Just wait. સ્વૈચ્છિક લોકડાઉન કરવા તમામ વેપારીઓને નમ્ર અપીલ કરવામાં આવે છે. આપની દુકાન ધંધા રોજગાર 12 વાગ્યા સુધી ચાલુ રાખવા નમ્ર વિનંતી કરવામાં આવે છે. શાક માર્કેટ 7 દિવસ સુધી બંધ રહેશે. જેની પોલીસની નોંધ Okay, okay. Now I think uh, I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
undamped vibration and damped vibrations are there. So mainly in real life, if you consider the all the examples are force vibration and damped vibration system. Okay, but certain ideal situations we are considering to define as a free vibration and undamped vibration system. Okay. So damped vibration where the dissipation of energy occurs and vibration amplitudes decay. This is the simple example, simple definition. So in this particular figure, if you can see that this particular sine wave line, okay, which is having the same amplitude of the cycle, that is the undamped free vibration system. The dark one oscillatory oscillatory line represent the damped free vibration system, in which you can see that the frequency remains same, but the amplitude is continuously decreasing. Okay, and these are the two example of the undamped vibration and damped. These are the two responses, one for the undamped free vibration system and another for the damped free vibration system. Then the linear vibration and non-linear vibration. I would like to represent the full slide over here. Here you can see that if you consider the system like this, one figure number one and figure number two, where the two masses are there and two springs are there, and this in first figure one mass and one system is there, and my mass is allowed to move in particular one direction. Okay, so as per definition you can see that elements behave linearly and mathematical solution is well defined for this two particular figure. But if you consider the more complicated case like this, where the mass is surrounded with the number of springs and damping system, also the subsystem is again supported with the springs and damper. Okay, so that makes the difficult to model the motion of the mass over here m1. Okay, so such type you cannot easily mathematically model or obtain the mathematical solution for the displacement of such motion, such a system. So that is known as the non-linear vibration. Okay, also we have the random and deterministic vibration. The deterministic vibration is the one in which the magnitude of excitation acting on a vibratory system is known at any given time, and the excitation is called the deterministic vibration, and the resulting vibration is known as the deterministic vibration, and can be described by the implicit more mathematical function as a function of time. Means you can say f equal to f sine omega t, where t is nothing but the time. So the motion, if you consider the time displacement, then x equal to x0 into sine omega t. Okay, so we can have the equation of motion as well as equation of force for the deterministic vibration. But when there is a random vibration, you cannot have the simple mathematical functions. So for such type of vibration, to describe statistical means such as the mean and the mean square values of the excitation is considered, right? Now the single degree of freedom system, we will quickly go through it. So okay, to model the single degree of freedom system or to obtain the governing equation of single degree of freedom system, you have to consider the spring mass system. This portion is the spring without mass. When you attach the spring, it will be elongated, and that elongation or deflection, that is known as delta st, that is nothing but the static deflection. Means after attaching mass, this is the equilibrium position, and if you deflect further, okay, it will results into the oscillatory motion, okay, or results into the vibration. So that you have to analyze. So for that you have to consider this free body diagram where w is the mass, weight or mass which is acting in the downward direction, while the t equal to k as t at the equilibrium position is the resisting force. So considering that, if you apply the Newton's first law and substituting here xt equal to c into e power as t is considered, which define the harmonic motion. Okay, that I'm not going into detail of this part, but if you substitute this, okay, here you can see that this one, particularly this one, is the uh, what you can say is the, okay, this one is the governing equation, okay, from the free body diagram. Now ultimately you can results into this ms square equal to k. This is the very important part, okay. Why? Because the at the next we are obtaining the root, that is root of this particular equation, that is ms square plus k equal to 0. That is s equal to, answer of this solution, the solution of this equation is s equal to plus or minus under root minus k by m power 1 by 2. Okay, so ultimately this results into the equation of frequency, that is natural frequency omega n. We know that omega n equal to under root k by m. That is based on this particular derivation. Small derivation is there. So there are two roots. So the answer can be defined like this: xt equal to c1 into e power I omega n t plus c2 into e minus I omega n t. Ultimate solution in the terms of the displacement of the or the motion of the mass as x of t. Okay, if you substitute, you can further simplify it in terms of cos omega t and sin omega t. Okay, I'm not going into detail much. Okay, the next part is the damping part. So generally in engineering applications we are considering the viscous damping. So viscous damping is the most commonly used damping mechanism in vibration analysis. When mechanical system vibrates in a fluid media such as the air, gas, water or oil, here see we have considered air also. Because of that reason I have mentioned the one of the assumptions for the free vibration, that air resistance is negligible. Okay, so air is also considered as a media which resists the motion of a body. Okay, and because of that it is under comes under the viscous damping. In viscous damping, the damping force is proportional to the velocity of the vibrating body, and typical viscous damping includes the fluid film between the sliding surfaces, fluid flow around a piston in a cylinder, fluid flow through an orifice, and fluid film around a journal in a bearing. Okay, so sliding bearing example you can consider in between the journal and bearing we can have the oil film. Okay. So this one is the basic example of Newton's law of viscous flow. Okay, and we can obtain that C, that is nothing but the damping coefficient, is mu A and H. We are not going into much detail, but the resisting force which is offered by the viscous damping, that is C into V. Okay. Vibration of viscous damping. We have already derived the governing equation for the free damp vibration or a free undamped vibration system. If we consider the damped vibration, then mx double dot plus cx dot plus kx equal to 0. This is the free damp governing equation for the free damp vibration system. If we are neglecting that cx dot, this part if we are considering at 0, then this will become a free undamped, a governing equation for free undamped vibration system. Okay. So I'm not going in much detail. We can also obtain the solution for the same by same uh, procedure. Okay, so here the roots, as see in previous case where the free undamped vibration system is considered, then there was a root s1 and s2 are nothing but the plus or minus I under root k by m, right? So s equal to under root k by m. In this terminology, the frequency roots were coming, while here the damping is introduced. So ultimately, this results in roots are in this form. Okay. Now for the radical, for the solution, okay, okay, critical damping. To define the, I'm just skipping the derivation part. Okay, so this radical part should be 0 to have the critical damping coefficient cc. So the condition is that this radical term should be 0. So considering that, we can define the critical damping like this. Okay, this radical term equal to 0, that means cc divided by 2m square. This term equal to k by m. So ultimately we obtain the critical damping cc equal to 2 under root k by m. Now why I have considered this point over here? cc is the critical damping coefficient and c is the damping coefficient. So based on this, we can define the non-dimensional factor, that is zeta, that is nothing but the damping factor, that is actually the ratio of damping coefficient and critical damping coefficient. So this is the definition of zeta. Okay. So we can further simplify this zeta c by 2 m terms in terms of zeta and omega n. But I'm not going in much detail over here. Again, I'm telling you. But if you further simplify, yes, I'm interested in this solution. So this solution ultimately you will achieve. So this solution includes now term zeta, that is the damping factor, which includes what? C and Cc. Zeta equal to what? Zeta equal to C by Cc, critical damping coefficient. Right? So considering this, we can have the undamped vibration system, damped vibration system, and critically damped vibration system. So for Z undamped vibration system, zeta should be, this is the condition, zeta should be less than 1. If we consider zeta should be less than 1, means C should be less than Cc. Okay. So if we consider this part into these two roots of governing equation, okay, we can obtain this. So solution of x of t can be written like this. Okay. So ultimate solution of motion is this. Okay. So here we are defining this particular term, omega n into under root 1 minus zeta square as omega d we are defining, and if we substitute over here, we can obtain this results. So this is nothing but the damping coefficient d, where of it, damping frequency, sorry, and omega n is nothing but the natural frequency. Okay, so based on that, ultimately the sorry, the solution can give the response Okay, here omega e power omega, this term is there, which is the decaying function. This one is the sinusoidal, okay, or harmonic function. So plus if you combine these two function, okay, which ultimately results into the motion of object like this, right? See, your sinusoidal tau response is there with decreasing the amplitude of vibration. Okay, that is due to this term e power zeta omega nt, while this one due to the that cosine and sine function. So critically damped system, again condition is that zeta equal to 1. If you consider that, then zeta square minus 1 equal to 0, and roots are like this. Okay, so this says that the overall response, this one, is the aperiodic. Okay, means you will get the ultimately x of t equal to this. Of course, there is a decaying function, but there is no harmonic function. So the ultimate solution is aperiodic. Okay. So the answer will be like this. For the critical dam system, the displacement curve is like this, which is decaying. Right. Same way for over dam system, we have to consider zeta equal to 1. Okay. And we can obtain the solution in this form. Right. So this is the combined curve, critically damped, over damped, and under damped curve. Logarithmic decrement, I have just put here the two slides, only two slides are there, which says that the importance of this particular topic, logarithmic decrement, is this one. Why we are going for this analysis? Because to determine the damping constant from the experimental data, means from the data, here you can see this one is the results, then to considering the ratio of the successive amplitude, this one. Okay, you can say this one is the x1 and this one is the x2. So ratio of these two can be results into the equation of logarithmic decrement. Okay, this equation, ultimately this equation. Okay, so this ratio is related to zeta, means once this ratio is known, you can obtain zeta, that is nothing but the damping coefficient. So this can be used to design the damping required for the design of any mechanical uh, elements to have the safe vibrating motion, right? Because of that only I have considered this point. Now just I'm giving the hint, or the just two slide, one slide is there to give the flavor that how the 2 degree of freedom can work. Okay, so here you can see that I just a minute. Okay, so actually these two are the animation, I'm not able to play. Okay, now you can see. See, understanding of this animation is important. See, both the mass are moving in the same direction at a time. Both masses are moving in the same direction, right? And because of that, here the A1 and A2 are shown on the same side. In the second animation, one moving in downward direction while the other one is moving in upward direction. Right? You can see over here. Right? Because of that reason, we are giving the amplitude of M1 in one direction, while the amplitude of mass m2 on the opposite direction. And if we consider, the important point over here is the node point. While in this case you cannot have the node point, while in this case you have the node point. Okay, these are the responses of both the masses for both the cases, but here the node point is important. Why I have considered this part? Okay, if you, as you all are the students, I'm considering that, or assuming that you all are the students of aeronautical engineering field. So if you consider the fuselage of an aeroplane like this, there is a wing, right? And you have observed that engine is mounted over somewhere in between the span of the aircraft wing. Okay, so the selection of the proper location to mount an engine is important. So that is decided by the uh, estimating the node point, so that where the deflection of the engine is minimum. Okay, and because and where the engine is mounted, node point is the point where generally the displacement is zero. Okay, so here you need to find out the node point to find out the location of engine on the aircraft wing. Okay, so this is the first part of the today's presentation, and quickly, just 10 minutes are left for me to uh, present over here. So first, with the first part, I'm considering that the things are now clear. That is the related to introduction part of the vibration. Now the second part, why we are going, second part is the vibration of the advanced material. Okay, so the why I've considered the very advanced topic, that is vibrational analysis of single wall boron nitride nanotube. That is this part is specially for the nanomechanical resonator. Okay, so nanomechanical resonator or mass sensor have shown highly sensitive. So here the cantilever configuration is considered. We know that the cantilever configuration, this is given in the basic book of the vibration, where cantilever beam is there and the mass is located on the length of the beam, okay, from the fixed end, and we are vibrating the system, and how to find out the frequency. So ultimately this is the basic equation for cantilever beam. The stiffness K equivalent is 3 ei by L cube. Okay, I'm not going in much detail, but I'm just giving the flavor how we can model the how we can use the vibrational analysis to design the advanced the sensing mechanisms. Okay, so considering this equation, we can say that material with high Young's modulus and low mass density. See, these two are the important property to have the ultra high frequency of any mechanical element. Okay, if you put this part over here, K equivalent, then frequency, to have the higher frequency, the Young's modulus should be very high. Okay, to have the minimum mass, okay, for the higher frequency, the mass density required should be low. Okay, so considering that, these are the two basic property. So the higher Young's modulus, we can go for the CNT, carbon nanotube. Okay, and the lower mass density. Okay, so here the combination is different combinations are given, but you can see that the these two particular these two particular material, carbon nanotube and boron nitride nanotubes, have higher value of E, okay, and low density. Here, of course, the density of BNT is very high. Low density, we can go for this Z nanotube, but which is having the less value of Young's modulus. Okay, so we are going the carbon nanotube and boron nitride nanotubes are the basic materials. Yeah. Now we are going for the advanced material, vibration of advanced material. I'm just quickly, within 5 minutes I will complete. Okay, these are the few images which says that the yes, at nano level also the mechanical elements can behave like a basic huge mechanical element with the vibrational characterization. So this figure ultimately shows the first mode of vibration, while this second figure shows the second mode of vibration. Right? Okay. So the going through the Euler-Bernoulli theorem, I am not going in much detail. These are the published data and which are available on the net. This is one of my based on my one of the research article. So ultimately, the important part is this part, that the governing equation. Okay, here m is the attached mass and delta f. These two parameters you can understand over here. Rest you can consider are the constant. The attached mass to the cantilever beam and delta f is the shift in frequency. Okay, so these two parameters you can shift in frequency means without mass you have the frequency of cantilever beam say fo, and with mass you can have the frequency f1. Then delta f is nothing but fo minus f1, right? So we can calibrate delta f with respect to m to have the mass sensor system. So this is the governing equation. Okay, now I would like to simply move to the final application part. So these are the different approaches. Okay, this one is the space frame model. This is the uh, continuum solid mechanics approach, where we are considering the material as a bulk material, which is having the three dimensions. Okay, and this is the molecular dynamics approach, which can be used for the modeling of the nanomaterials. Yeah, these are the basic modes of vibration. Why I've considered specially these figures for this particular session, that it is very difficult for people to understand that whether at nano level, whether the system will behave like a the vibrational behavior would be similar to the bulk material or not. That is the question always I am facing, but yes, it is possible. Okay, these are the different modes of vibration of for a single uh, element. Okay, as the more number of modes increases, the frequency increases. Okay, okay, this one is the one of the application where the mass different viruses are considered. These are the different viruses which are having the different mass. Okay, based on the data I'm considering this mass or this viruses as an additional mass over here. Okay, at the end of the nanotube, and we are measuring the delta f. So based on delta f we can estimate that which virus or which bacteria is there on the system. So the detection of bacteria or detection of virus can be achieved using such type of the system. Okay. This one is the another example in which the alanine alpha amino acids have been considered. These are the applications based on the biomedical science, right? Which so at the end of the cantilever beam, see here you can say that this masses are attached and analyzed, and delta F can be achieved. Okay. So these are the particular results. So biosensing application can be possible. Okay. This example I would like to represent over here. This one is the which you can understand easily. In diabetic patient, you can have the idea that in their breathing, the acetone a concentration will decide whether they were diabetic patient or not. They are diabetic patient or not. So to one application you can consider as to detect the concentration of acetone in the breathing of the diabetic patient. So based on concentration, you can uh, uh, identify the level of diabetes of the diabetic patient, right? So this one is the another example. Again, we are considering the cantilever or bridge configuration, clamp configuration of the nanotube, and we can identify the how many number of acetone molecules are there on the system. Okay, so based on that we can estimate the conversion. So I have just quickly gone through such applications, but you can go through my publications. Okay, so this one is the my YouTube channel. You can go through it. Okay, you can subscribe it, and there are number of videos. Okay, this at this moment there are limited videos, but many. We are in a group working on working on the uh, one of the project where we decided that the quality educational materials would be published. So considering that, we have number of topics in line to be published on my channel. So this you can I request you to subscribe this. I will forward the link for the same also, but you can Google my name, and you can find out my channel, and I request you to subscribe for the more quality. Whatever I have presented for the introduction of vibration, that video is also available on my channel. Okay, so that also you can go through. Thank you very much. Now I would like to take the questions, if any.
Uh, Thank you, Mitesh sir. We will go ahead and take some time for question now. Just a reminder, please be sure type your question to my number 9978225359. It look like we have few questions, sir.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, I will be
how
happy.
does the frequency remain constant? Sorry, why does the frequency remains constant?
Why does the frequency remains constant? Okay, if you consider the free or natural frequency of any system, okay, the nature equation of natural frequency, that is omega n equal to under root k by m. Okay, so the k is the stiffness and m is the mass. As far as for the any machine element or any mechanical system, there is not much great variation in the properties of the system. There's two parameters, k and m, for the any mechanical system will remain same. Okay, and because of that reason the frequency remains constant, but this frequency is the natural frequency of the system. Many a time you have gone you have come to the across that after utilization of 10 years life of a bridge, suddenly it collapse. Okay, in such cases what is generally happening, that the parameter which are affecting the stiffness and the mass of the particular bridge is changing, and because of that reason that frequency, natural frequency of the bridge comes down. Okay, and or affect, ultimately alters, the natural frequency of the system will alters, and due to the continuous loading of the moving vehicle, that frequency matches and it collapses suddenly. So I hope I have given the to the point answer
Yes, sir.
of
Yes,
this
sir.
ones. Yeah.
Next question is, what is the vibration isolation?
Okay, okay. What is the vibration? This is the very important point, because many students are confused with the vibration isolation as well as vibration absorber. See, vibration isolation separates the vibrating system with the source, or what you can say is the supporting system. Okay. Uh, in other words, the vibration isolation separates the source of vibration to the supports of the system. Okay, it is not transporting a single vibration in terms of displacement, acceleration, and velocity. These are the three parameters to measure the vibration. So, keeping the system or support uh, separate from the source vibration. So that is known as the vibration isolation. Yeah.
Okay. Next question is, What is the
Okay, what
critical
is the
speed of
critical
shaft?
speed of shaft? Okay, the critical speed of shaft, you can say, is the speed at which you are observing the morsels. Okay, morsels in the sense, if you consider your laboratory experiment where the critical speed of shaft you are measuring. Okay, so when you increase the speed, it starts the shaft will start to rotate or to experience the first mode of vibration, where you can have the two nodes at the both ends of the shaft where the bearing is mounted. But when you that is the one of the critical speed. When you increase the further speed, you will get the double second mode of vibration, where you can observe the node shape in between or along the length or between the length of the shaft in between the bearings. Okay, so that where the mode occurs, single mode or the first mode, second mode, third mode of the shaft occurs at that particular speed is known as the critical speed. Yes.
Uh, how many neutral frequency does a continuous system have?
How many natural frequencies does
Frequency
continuous
does a
system
continuous
have?
system? Yes.
Right. Continuous system has, okay, when you are going for the continuous system, there are different approach that can be utilized to analyze the multi-degree of freedom system or continuous system. Continuous system, you generally referring the, what do you say, the wave propagation equation. Okay. So if you consider that there are number of in natural frequency, but here the natural frequencies which can be uh, counted as a frequencies of the system, that the one which is not results into the failure of the system up to that much frequencies, natural frequencies we are considering as a number of possible natural frequency of the continuous system. That also depends upon the boundary condition, its clamping condition and all those things.
Okay. What is the difference between harmonic motions and the periodic motion?
Okay, what is the difference between harmonic motion? In the simple word, what I can say is that the harmonic motion consists the harmonic function in its mathematical uh, the presentation. Okay, sine theta, cos theta is that. Then that means that motion is known as the harmonic motion. Repeated motion means that it doesn't mean that it is the harmonic motion. Okay, but of course the harmonic motion is the repeating motion, but repeating cannot be all the time is a harmonic motion. Means after some time you can consider the motion of what you can say that came with the more what the portion that is called as the recess part. Okay, means some for the half revolution you have zero motion, then for the next half you have the motion. Means for within the one complete cycle, for the half motion, half revolution, the motion is zero. Okay, in the one complete cycle, agar same is repeating for the next cycle, so that is called as the repeating motion. So at the at the final answer, I can say that all the harmonic motion you can consider as a repeating motion, but it is not necessary that all type of repeating motion can be a harmonic motion. Yes, I hope I have cleared the point.
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you very much, sir, for sparing the valuable time. And thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being here.
I
I would
request
like to
all to
present an
subscribe that
application.
particular channel. Okay, this is not a
Yes,
marketing, but you will definitely receive the quality material over there. Okay, so
I would like to present an appreciation certificate on behalf of Parallel University, sir.
okay, It's my pleasure. Thank you. Okay. Anything else?
No, sir. We will be having
Okay.
our next webinar schedule on the next week.
Okay.
Please do join us for the same, and we'll update you for the timing soon.
Okay.
Thanks again for the joining us today, and we will see you next time. Have a good day, all of you. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Professor Ankit. Thank you. I'm leaving.